hell would have thought we would be saying that when we were 3-0 up and cruising? Look, so much to unpick there. A lot of people not happy with the manager, with the players, with the club. What I would say is, you know what? I mean, look, I'm still digesting this as much as anybody else, is that when you're not able to enjoy Man United winning that game, I think you've got a problem. I think you've got a really big problem. And maybe some people will say it's not for you to say, but ultimately, all I really care about is how I feel as a fan and how we feel as fans. And you can be angry. You've got every right to be angry. You can want change. You can want different types of change. But trust me, I've played the game. I've been there when you lose in 2009 to Barcelona in a Champions League final and you thought you were going to win. And that desolation of loss is a horrible place to be as a fan. And you can say it was embarrassing. You can say we were lucky, but you've got to enjoy that win because the loss would be devastating. And if you would rather have that loss to justify your feeling towards a player or a manager, then I suspect you're not really a Manchester United fan, because the feeling of that loss and avoiding it is the overriding feeling for me. There are lots of things to talk about whether we change the manager or whether we change certain players. But surely you cannot be sat there tonight going, I wish we had lost because it was embarrassing. Do you know what a loss would have been? It would have been humiliation. And not humiliation just aimed at the club and the players, but at you as a United fan. You would have been a subject of ridicule at work, at school, in your own house, wherever. It would have been humiliating and horrible. So to avoid that, I'm grateful. Maybe that's just being a fan, I don't know. But I know what I would have been walking into tomorrow where I've got to go. And it would have been laughs, humiliation and embarrassment. And I don't deserve that. And you don't deserve that. Maybe I do deserve that because I laughed when we got Coventry in the semi-final. At 3-0, I said 2 FA Cup finals in a row for Ten Hag. So look, there was of course, we've all done that. But ultimately, the win is the overarching thing. We don't deserve it as fans to be put through yet another humiliating loss. So, yeah, relief. I think relief is the word I would talk about there. But in relation to the game itself, I mean, the title of the show says it all. It was embarrassing. It was embarrassing. I think Harry Maguire, I think Dalot, I think Rasmus, I think Garnacho, I think Mainu, I think those 5 players and 2 of them being taken off was a big problem. I think these players are players that are playing for the club. I thought Casemiro's penalty was disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. I don't know whether there's an explanation for it, but to nonchalantly chip a penalty of that magnitude down the middle as the first penalty was just disgusting. I thought Wan-Bissaka playing him onside or offside was just crap defending. I thought that Rashford's performance was inexplicable again. I don't think Anthony did anything off the bench. I don't think Eriksen did anything off the bench. I think there's a few players on that pitch that, you know, really need to take a long, hard look at themselves. Mainly because we were playing a championship side and they are meant to be top-level Premier League players. And some Coventry players outclassed some of our players. So look, that's my first starting point, is some of those players have let themselves down in a game where it's inexplicable to do that. I mean, Scott McTominay scored a goal. I would love to interview Scott McTominay and say where he went from scoring that goal to being subbed, because I never saw him again. He's got an amazing ability to just disappear on a football pitch. But he's not the only one. There were some horrible performances from Manchester United. To be 3-0 up in a football game and end up 3-3 in penalties is just has to fall partially on the players as well. But the major catalyst here was that we're 3-0 up and cruising, and Erik Ten Hag got it wrong. He got it wrong. He should not. I'm just seeing what happened here with the referee. He's booked Onana twice, has he? So Onana should have been sent off. I thought you could get another yellow card. I don't know. But look, whatever's gone wrong there, that's by the by. Let's talk about the manager. Well, look, whether you want Ten Hag out or not, what you tell me the reasons you want Ten Hag out. Okay, I don't know. You tell me why it is you want Ten Hag out. Is it because we squandered a 3-0 lead and then had to win on penalties? Because we still won the game. Like, is that what it's about? Is it because he keeps picking he keeps picking Rashford and taking Garnacho off? Well, I agree. I don't understand that. I think it's a very valid point. But what I still have a big problem with is I feel that you have two choices. You either change your manager and stick with the majority of those players, or you stick with your manager and remove the majority of the players. And I still believe that we need to remove the majority of the players. And our new manager won't do it because they'll give everyone a second chance. So I still believe that the manager should not be going before some of these players. But what I do want to understand, and I'd love somebody to ask it in the press conference, I think it absolutely has to be asked. This is the first question that if there's a journalist out there that wants to get a bit of credibility in a world of journalism which is just fucking rubbish, your first question for Ten Hag should be, Eric, Marcus Rashford was Player of the Year last year, but this year he's been consistently bad. So bad that some fans don't want him in the team. So bad that some fans don't think he's putting any effort in. And yet you keep him on the pitch for 90 minutes all the time. You start him every single game. Is that because he's contractually obliged to do it? Are you under pressure to do it? Or are you just taking off other players because you prefer Rashford? I genuinely should ask that question, because I agree with a lot of people that his persistence with Rashford is going to cost him his job. It's the number one frustration in every United fan I talk to. Why does he keep picking him? Why won't he take him off? And you know, it's a very, 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 very fair point. And the catalyst for that game turning on its head was taking Garnacho off. That was the change. Because Garnacho was getting the ball, dribbling, carrying, tackling, passing, and we had a good momentum and we had a good hold of the game. And as soon as he took Garnacho off, we lost it. And then Mainu as well. We lost the midfield. So those two substitutions invited Coventry back into the game. Coventry scored a good goal. The second goal is a fluke. It's a complete and utter fluke. It's not Onana's fault. It's not Wan-Bissaka's fault. It's just looped up over him. The third goal is a penalty. My biggest frustration with that is, how's that a penalty and Grealish isn't? But that's to do with officiating. So, and that's for the offside for Coventry. I thought he was miles off. I thought he was like 10 yards off. On replay, I don't know what Wan-Bissaka's doing. I don't know why he's doing that. If you're a defender and you want to learn something from today's game, never wander that deep on your own away from your defensive line, because Wan-Bissaka nearly cost us that game. They've reviewed it and they've said he's, you know, a pube offside. It's very unlucky. It's very unlucky for Coventry, but, you know, we've got away with it there. And we've won it on penalties. And as I said, look, I get the frustration. I'm going to go through some of your comments now. We'll do the player ratings in a minute. We've got the fan forum afterwards. And I've said on the fan forum, can you please discuss Ten Hag in depth? Because I know a lot of people are going to want to talk about it. I'm happy to talk about it. But on a personal note, I can only be honest. I'm just relieved that we're through. I know we've had elements of luck. But, you know, on the flip side of that, we should have won it. We had the game won. We were 3-0 up. We'd won the game. So, you know, I'm just massively relieved that we're through. But on a real, I'm watching us play, especially in extra time. I'm watching us playing in extra time, and I wonder how many of you felt like this. I'm watching us playing extra time, and I'm like, we're so shit. Like, we're so shit. Like, Coventry are tired. They're not used to this. And we're so shit. I'm like, we're getting the ball, and I can see it. I want to be the coach. I'm sure you're the same. In extra time, I want to be the coach because the game is so stretched. It's wide open. And I'm like, all you've got to do, and you're Premier League footballers, right? I could get a Saturday afternoon team to do this. All you've got to do is calm the fuck down, get the ball, and you'll see a 5-10 yard pass along the ground. And then when you receive it, you'll get time to control it and you'll see another one. Do that all the way to the edge of the box and you will create a chance. And at no stage did we do that. I mean, there was one point in extra time where Eriksen finds Bruno with a good pass, like I say. Bruno's got 2 passes to feet 10 metres in front of him, smacks a Hollywood ball trying to get Antony in behind. And it's like, this is why we fail. The decision-making is shit. I mean, Rasmus's penalty, by the way, was brilliant. Rasmus's penalty was the pressure on that penalty is massive. Where he put it, how he hit it, the way he hit it, that's somebody who can score goals. The fact that we don't create chances for him on his left foot is fucking criminal. But this is what we do. How many times in that game did you count somebody cut inside and shoot? I saw Eriksen and Antony do it, right? They've got a pass on the edge of the box. They shoot when there's a player 1 metre in front of them who's clearly going to block it. And it's weird. It's weird. And this has been going on for years. The graveyard shift has been going on for years. Ronaldo, Cavani, Martial, Weghorst, Rashford, Højlund, they've all played up front and they've all had no service. And we need to have a real conversation about the likes of Bruno and Rashford, who've been here for years. They do not help the striker. They are not players that help the striker. They are not there to play early balls into the striker. Neither of them want to do it. So if you want Ivan Toney in the summer, or you want Sesko in the summer, then pray tell us all how you're going to solve this massive problem we've had for the last 4 years. We don't have players that want to supply the striker. They're so fucking bad at it. Antony was bad at it when he came on. We never, ever, 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 ever look for the early ball. We never, ever look for the early cross. In fact, the McTominay goal was a good goal because it went really quickly. McTominay to Garnacho, overlap, first time cross. McTominay arrives, goal. You can't defend it. But we hardly ever do it. We do not provide chances for our striker. We never fucking have. It's disgusting. And my overarching thing is, we will struggle against Sheffield United. We will struggle against Burnley. We will struggle against Arsenal at home. We're a really bad team. And we will struggle against Man City in the final. I'm grateful that we're in the final because it gives us something to look forward to at the end of the season, because the season would have been over if we'd lost. But we are so fucking bad at football. It's embarrassing. We are so bad. It's terrible. It's really, really bad. When you play with Coventry and you're 3-0 up at 60 minutes, any manager would rest his best players. The players are incapable of keeping the lead. I think this is a really interesting point, and I have to discuss it. Leon says it there. A few of you in extra time, and now Leon said it there, when you're 3-0 up and you take players off for Wednesday night against a championship club, the manager has got the right to do that. And you're right. You are right. Like, when I wouldn't have took Garnacho off in hindsight. But at the time, I think I said, well, you can get some younger players on now. And I think the more I start to calm down, the more you're right. We're 3-0 up against Coventry and we're Manchester United, and I'm bringing on internationals. You know, Garnacho for Antony, we paid £80 million for Antony. Like, we shouldn't be squandering a 3-0 lead. Mainoo's 18 for Eriksen, who's an international. Like, the substitutions actually killed us. But you can look at it from a side of, well, he's taking off 2 players for 2 internationals and we're 3-0 up against the championship side. Like, there is actually a valid point there. I don't necessarily agree with it, but there is a valid point there. You could say that. You could say, well, we're 3-0 up. We've got a game on Wednesday. Garnacho hasn't been fully fit last week. Eriksen coming on for Mainoo makes sense as well. The problem is the drop-off after those subs was embarrassing. It was really embarrassing. And this is where, you know, we lack certain things. I think Maguire played brilliant, by the way. I thought that Dalot played well. I thought Garnacho, when he was on the pitch, was well. I thought Mainoo did okay. But, you know, when we're 3-0 up and Garnacho and Mainoo come off, what went wrong? What went wrong? Because we can moan, but what went wrong? And for me, what went wrong was Rashford, McTominay, Bruno, Casemiro, Eriksen, Antony. That's 6 players. Wan-Bissaka, 7, just disappeared. And I'd hate to know what they're on as a wage. I'd hate to look at how many international caps they've got. But we're playing Coventry and we're 3-0 up. You can't have 7 players just disappear. You can't have it. And that's what happens. And, you know, people will blame it on Ten Hag, but you know what, actually? Is there not something to be said here that we're 3-0 up with half an hour to go? He takes off 2 teenagers for 2 experienced players and the team capitulates. It should be the other way round. It should be Anthony and Ericsson coming off at 3-0 for Garnacho and Mainu. And then it goes wrong and you say he shouldn't have brought the kids on. He took 2 kids off and brought 2 internationals on and the team fell apart. And this is why we miss a captain. The discipline, it's just not good enough. It's not good enough, really. Ericsson was only a player to celebrate with Rasmus. Embarrassing look for the club, says Alan. I'm confused how you think Erik Ten Hag is good enough, says Shield, because I think the players need to go, mate. I'm very, very clear about that. I've been very clear about this for years. We need a major clear out of the playing staff. It's more important than anything. It's more important than the stadium. It's more important than the medical team. It's more important than the manager. It's more important than the Glazers. Like, what we need this summer is a clear out of players. Absolutely. Erik Ten Hag out because of repeated substitutions directly costing points. I think I've just explained that, Mr. Glenn Johnson, though. VAR is killing the sport, says Lewis. I'm very glad we didn't lose, but it's hard to celebrate just because of how embarrassing that second half was, says Jonathan. Surely Rashford has to be dropped at this point. How he stayed on longer than Garnacho was beyond me, says Carl. Tommy, thank you very much. Look, we'll talk more about Ten Hag on the fan forum because I want to do the player ratings. There's a lot of good points there. Peter said he failed to celebrate a win. I don't want to be that person. I don't understand that person. I don't understand how you can't be happy that we're through. Even just for us, just for you as a fan. Forget the manager, forget the players, forget the Glazers, and appreciate the embarrassment and humiliation you would be suffering now. It's a personal thing. Like, I'm not unhappy that we're through. Not at all. Not at all. I will talk about Rashford, but let's do the player ratings as we do it. Make sure you smash a like on the video and subscribe, by the way. Get involved with your thoughts. The fan forum is going to be very tasty. Player ratings are going to be very interesting as well. If I can get them to fucking work. Where are they? There we go. Give it a refresh. Right, we've had about 5,000 votes. That's always a good pool. These can be interesting because people get very angry. But let me just pull this in. There we go. Okay, so Anana. I mean, you got to give him a 7.5. 6? For what? You fucking miserable shits. What are you talking about? This is what I mean. Player ratings, right, just focus on mine because you're going to get knobheads here who are just angry. Fucking 6. 5.8. He saves a big penalty in the penalty shootout. He makes a good save from a volley. He's not at fault for the deflected goal. His sweeper keeping was actually very good. There was times where he was fucking running 20 yards out. I mean, what are you talking about? What are you talking about there? Can we do a Ten Hag poll as well? Yeah, I'll do that one for you. Okay. I'm Ten Hag in, by the way. I still think at the end of the day, it's two FA Cup finals in a row. And it's the players that are the problem at this football club, not the manager. But that's my opinion. Right, Delo for me, I thought his penalty was brilliant. The banging of the badge, the assist. He could have had another assist from Rashford. I give him a 7. Yeah, you're taking it out on the wrong players here. You're taking it out on the wrong players. 5.8 for Anana. 5.6 for Delo. Fucking hell, you lot are just... No, people aren't going to take you seriously when you're not being fair. You're not being fair there. That is just not fair. Maguire was my man of the match. I'll give him an 8. 6.3. Fucking hell, you miserable lot. You're having a fucking laugh. You're having a joke. All right, just focus on mine then. I think mine are going to be the fairest for the first time ever. Look, Maguire was good today. He scored a goal. The amount of runs from the back he made... I mean, look, we're playing Coventry. Maguire should be putting in a 7 or 8, but not everybody did. And he did his job, and he kept going. And he was one of the few players that had energy after 120 minutes. Rasmus never stopped running. Delo never stopped running. Maguire never stopped running. You know, it was McTominay who needed to go off. It was Rashford who wanted to go off. Like, I'm not going to knock these players. Casemiro, that penalty, 5. I mean, People at half-time were saying Casemiro could play centre-back. What did I say? We're playing against a low block where they're not attacking. As soon as Coventry started attacking, his lack of pace was terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. Yeah, it wasn't a good performance from Casemiro. Wan-Bissaka 5, yeah. I mean, the fact that Coventry let us go down that left-hand side so much just showed what they thought about Wan-Bissaka as a left-back and Rashford as a left-winger. He's not playing. He's playing out of position, to be fair, but I mean, it's all we've got. But it ain't good. It ain't good. And what he was doing on that offside could have cost us big time. Mainu was doing well, 6.5 for me. You saw the problem when Mainu went off. I know people probably can't remember it, but there was an issue when Mainu went off, 6.5. Scott McTominay, I'll probably give him a 5.5 just because he scored. Completely disintegrated after that. Disappeared. The invisible man. He's got an amazing ability to just... You know what? I don't notice him. An hour can go by and I do not notice him. Good goal. Very good goal. But the only time I remember him after the goal was in the second half when he carried it to the edge of the box. And I don't remember anything else. I don't remember a tackle. I don't remember anything. I really don't. Bruno, goal was a bit fortunate. Never stops running. Some really weird passes. Leadership is the best we've got, but it's still not great. 6.5. Garnacho was a 6.5 before he came off. I thought he played really, really well in the context of the game. I probably would have given him a... If we win the game 3-0, he's probably getting a 7. So I thought Garnacho played well. I don't think it's fair. I mean, look, let's not forget, when Garnacho went off, it was 3-0. He's got nothing to do with the capitulation, and neither has Kobbie Mainoo. So let's be honest about that. Rashford, okay, I said I'd speak about this one. 4 for me. Look, we have to have an honest conversation here. There is this odd thing where some people call it toxicity, hate, abuse. So I will use the words I always use. This is about football. This is about a Manchester United shirt, and this is about our best paid player. That's Coventry City. They are not even going to be in the playoffs of the Championship. The three teams promoted from the Championship last year are going down. There is a massive difference between the Championship and the Premier League. He's our best paid player. What's the excuse? He had more touches than anybody apart from Bruno Fernandes at half-time. So he's had plenty of the ball. He can't say he's not getting the ball. He's had plenty of the ball. He's had plenty of opportunity. And he's put in a 4 out of 10. So how many times has he done that this season? Over 10. Definitely over 10. Why? Why is he still being picked? Why is it not changing? When is it going to change? I mean, I'm out of excuses. I don't know what to say. He shouldn't be playing for Manchester United at the moment. Like, it's embarrassing. It is embarrassing. I don't know. It's not my problem to solve. Thankfully, it's not. But what I want to know is it in his contract? Is it in his contract? That's what I want to know. Rasmus, look, I'll give this kid credit because I thought his penalty was brilliant. I'll give this lad credit because he was kicked from pillar to post. And I'll give this lad credit because he never stops running. 120 minutes doing that's hard work. But he gets fuck all service. So it's really difficult to give him anything more than a 6 because he gets no service. But look, the penalty was brilliant. He's got the technique to score goals, but he gets no service. So how can I give him a 7 or an 8 or anything like that? I can't because there is no service there. So I'd give him a 6. Anthony, I thought, was dreadful. A generous 5. Dreadful. Fresh legs. Big opportunity against Coventry. I thought he was dreadful. Ericsson, I thought was dreadful. Generally, again, apparently he's not happy about getting first team opportunities. I'll never understand when you don't start the game, you're disappointed. When you come on in a game like that and you're not getting game time and you're not happy, well, this is your opportunity. And again, nothing. Ahmad was a mixed bag. I would probably give him a 5.5. I'd agree with you on this one. He looked so much better than Rashford. It was unbelievable. But then I think he descended into trying too hard. Like, there was times he could have got rid of the ball a bit quicker. But he's getting hardly any minutes. He should be getting more minutes. It's as simple as that. Forson's a kid. I'll give him a 6. I mean, look, you're throwing on kids, really, aren't you? That's what you're doing. You're throwing on kids. This is at the end of the day. Erik ten Hag will be the interesting one. Yeah, it was a tough one, and I think that we are really in a situation where, look, we're 3-0 up, and we've had to win on penalties, which is always a lottery. The more we move away from the game, the more I actually look at it like that fantastic super chat and say, well, hold on a minute. You're 3-0 up. You make 2 substitutions. You take off 2 teenagers for 2 experienced internationals, and they capitulate. How much is that on the manager? He takes off 2 teenagers and brings on 2 internationals, and the team capitulates. And how much of it's on certain players for not stepping up? So there's no doubt that taking Garnacho and Meno off was the catalyst for the collapse. But why are we taking off an 18 and a 19-year-old for a 31 and a 23-year-old and using that as the reason that we blame the manager? Like, logically, you shouldn't fall apart when you take an 18 and 19-year-old off. So the rest of the team have to take a lot of the blame as well. So I will give Ten Hag a 5, because I'm actually starting to think that the pile on the manager is somewhat unfair, because that was a team of internationals. Onana's an international, Dalot's an international, Maguire's an international, Casemiro's an international, Wan-Bissaka isn't. McTominay's an international, Eriksen's an international, Bruno's an international, Anthony was an international when we bought him, Rashford's an international, and Rasmus is an international against Coventry City. I don't think it's on the manager completely for that team to capitulate at 3-0. And also, what other subs can he make? Ahmad came on for Rashford, of course, and the rest of them are kids. So, yeah, I think the pile on the manager in hindsight is a little bit over the top. I still believe the biggest problem there is we're 3-0 up against Coventry in the Championship with enough quality players to see it out, and they didn't. And for me, I'd rather change and sell 7, 8, 9, 10 players in the summer than replace one manager. That's a good point, isn't it? If you play the numbers game, would you rather sell 10 players and buy 7 players, or change one manager? And for me, it's the players. It's the players every time. They are the people that need to go. But overarchingly, yes, I'm not going to disagree with any of you. It's fucking embarrassing what we've just been through. And all I can do is sit here in relief and say, I am happy with that result, because the embarrassment of losing would have been ridiculously hard to deal with. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Right, man of the match. Let's do that. I just want to... Oh, also, man of the match for me is you lot. Can I be absolutely clear on this? Man of the match for me is you lot. Like, I went through that. It was the most painful game I've ever watched. And it was painful because I care. And it was painful because I didn't want the humiliation. So, well done to every single one of you. You're man of the match. Smash a like on the video for yourself, because I know what I've just been through. And I love this club. So if I've been through that, and you've been through that, then the real man of the match is you. And Harry Maguire does deserve it as well with 45%. But yeah, that was absolutely, as a fan, horrific. Horrific to go through. And if you got through that, well done. Well done indeed, because that was hard work. Right, we're going to talk more about Ten Hag on the fan forum. Get yourself over to there. They're ready and live for you now. Big Ten Hag debate, Rashford debate, all of that. Get yourself over there. thanks everyone for tuning in and being my support today, being my wingman and wing women. I'm glad I spent it with you. It would have been a hard watch alone. But you've been absolutely fantastic, and I really, really appreciate it as ever. Get yourself over the fan forum. And I'm on the morning show at 10 o'clock tomorrow. We've got Fabrizio on tomorrow. Fucking hell, tomorrow feels like a long way away. I want a hot bath. I want a cold beer. I want to eat some food. And I just want to take a deep breath and say, thank God we got through that. I'll speak to you in a bit.